What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today Bitcoin has confirmed an official uptrend, meaning higher lows and higher highs. So things are definitely looking pretty good here for the overall strength of the market. Something I noticed today was that the crypto fear and greed index has ticked up to the greed reading. So the market is now feeling very greedy. And this is putting me on a little bit of a cautious side. All the people that were once bearish have now started to become a little bit more bullish. And of course, we're seeing a lot of FOMO across the markets. And you got to ask yourself the question, are the people that are FOMOing into the market at new highs going to be rewarded? Well, maybe in the long term, but I would say that it's usually not how it goes. So with that being said, we are now getting a little bit of rejection off of 25,200. I do think that Bitcoin could potentially be heading up towards the next target of 28,800 or so. But I want to talk to you guys about a few scenarios that I shared on Twitter. So I released this post, and I'm going to ask you guys the same question to comment below which one you think is most likely. Number 1, 2, or 3, comment below. Number 1 is parabolic. Number 2 is a rising channel plus breakout, where we actually do get somewhat of a dip back before going up again. And number 3 is the more bearish scenario, where we reject, come back down, create the right shoulder, and get something like a head and shoulders, a decrease in momentum, and a breakdown. So let me know in the comment section below, guys, 1, 2, or 3. I want to know what you guys think. So I put these scenarios together, and when I look at these scenarios, there's only one question on my mind, and that is, what is the stock market doing? Because that's what's going to determine how this plays out. So I'm looking at the S&P, and we have a year-long down trend line, and we've broken out of that. So that's all very good. This breakout is what allowed Bitcoin to be bullish. Speculators became more confident, seeing that the stock market was breaking resistance and moving up. This is the daily chart for the S&P, and now we're sitting in a very interesting spot where we've broken the year-long resistance and we create a pennant formation. And now we're at the pattern completion zone. We are 70% of the way through the pattern, which means this pattern can complete at any time. And depending on what happens here, if the S&P ends up breaking out sooner rather than later, then it's more likely that Bitcoin may actually have the potential to go parabolic. If the S&P breaks below this pennant, retests the macro resistance as support, and then continues up again, that's when I would be looking for number 2, where we actually do get a retest down, create a longer channel before breaking out. And if the S&P breaks down and hits the macro resistance, creates a lower high, and fails to hold, that's when I'm looking for scenario number 3. So I have to just remind my viewers every time that it's not all about Bitcoin. You got to look at the stock market, because the way that Bitcoin plays this out has everything to do with the stock market's doing. So I'm going to be keeping a really close eye on how the S&P interacts with this area. I mean, if I just had to take a guess, the market probably would want to retest this resistance, and we probably end up coming down, retesting it before going up later. And if that was the case, it's more likely that Bitcoin's going to play out something like this, right? Because again, a lot of people are very greedy right now, and people that FOMO the new highs because they're greedy usually don't get rewarded. Not in an environment like this, not where Bitcoin is still, in a macro lower high. So if I had to take a guess, we may see consolidation, a test down, and the creation of a rising channel before breaking out later. All just speculation from me here, but that's what I would say. With that being said, regardless of the short-term stuff, because I know a lot of people always misinterpret what I'm saying. People always just label me as whatever. I mean, ultimately, I think Bitcoin has momentum right now. And I think that even if we do play out the rising channel scenario, that the ultimate target could be somewhere up at about 28,800. And the reason why I think that is that if you're looking at Bitcoin, and you see that we're above the pre-FTX collapse as new support, but we're below 25,200 as resistance. If you go back and you look, what is happening to the left here? Not really all that much happening on the chart. Go back even further, not all too much happening here. So we have this huge range above 25,200, which is like no man's land, where the price can possibly just cut through this zone like a knife through butter. It's possible. We may first see consolidation, and a test back down. If you mark up the upward sloping trend line, if Bitcoin was going to consolidate here, it means we could go as low as 22,500 before finding another higher low, continuation of the rising channel, and then breakout later. So I would say my opinion is probably somewhere more in the middle, going with number 2, just to give you guys my answer to that question. Over the past few weeks, people have flipped from extreme fear to now going into greed, and so I'm a little bit cautious. I think that I think seeing a little bit of consolidation here would be good for the market, would probably actually strengthen the market before moving up, but we'll see. Ultimately, I do think that Bitcoin is going to see higher highs from this level. It's just a matter of how long it will take, what's going to happen first, etc., etc. We talked about this in yesterday's video, and this was the RSI on the weekly. If you guys look, we actually bounced off the 50 level on the weekly RSI, and this is very, very key because every time we're bouncing off the 50 level on the weekly RSI, this is where bull trends take place, right? We're bouncing off 50, 2017, 2016, Bitcoin's, finding higher lows, major bull market. Now in 2019, we kind of just flew straight above this level and straight back down. And there was only a short-term bull trend followed by a retest down throughout 2019. And I think that it's more likely that we're going to see something along these lines take place for Bitcoin rather than just some kind of, incredible bull market before the halving even takes place. I don't think that that's likely. We'll probably end up seeing, Bitcoin maybe test higher towards 28.8K 30 before then retesting lower at a later date, consolidating going into 2024. So you guys know I am bullish right now. I still think Bitcoin has momentum, and I still think higher prices are possible. 28,800, 30K, those are the zones that I'm looking at. But ultimately, you got to keep in mind, we're still in a macro lower high. No matter how high we go, 30K, whatever, maybe we go higher, it's still ultimately a macro lower high. So you got to be very cautious and keep your emotions in check. 2019, we were stuck in this zone for a long time. Go back in time, 2015, we were stuck in this zone for a long time, right? When you break that RSI downtrend and you enter your expansion phase, at first there's a lot of sideways. 2015, go to 2019, you break out of your expansion phase, break into your expansion phase, a lot of sideways. And so now we're also breaking into our expansion phase, so it's just more likely that even if we keep going up, look for some sideways before the bullishness really kicks off. I think 2023 is going to be a big mixed bag, lots of pumps, lots of dumps, and the area to get super bullish is probably closer to 2024 halving. For now, it's really just accumulation. And at a point like this, the key thing is to buy the dip, right? Not FOMO the pump, but when we top out and come back, you buy the dips. Buy the dips. That's really the type of environment that we're in. It's not the time to FOMO. Despite my intros being like super moon boy and fun, I just make those because they're fun to make and I think it's entertaining. But this is my analysis here, guys. So hope you enjoyed this video. Smash the like, subscribe, and join Patreon if you want to support this channel and get my altcoin picks. One of our recent AI altcoins has doubled in price today, and that was put out just a few days ago. So some of these low cap coins that are surrounding the AI hype are doing pretty well, and that's what we're focused on in Patreon. If you join Patreon, you can get in the VIP chat and Discord and join the community. Hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you guys soon.